Welcome, Drink with James, episode 145. As you know, I've already finished the episode because the drinks are empty. We have Chloe Morello here, fresh from Australia, just moved to LA. One of the biggest, shiniest fish in Australia in the YouTube world came to LA. She's got 2.3 million subscribers.
2.6 actually, James.
6 million subscribers on YouTube, over 1 million on Instagram, and is insightful and hilarious and does not take herself too serious, but is running a very serious business.
Aww.
And we just had a great conversation.
It was great.
You guys are going to love it. I have a plane to catch. I know I got to get out of LA and get back to New York. So enjoy the episode. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We have a past connection, Grace, who's been with us for almost as long as the company has existed.
Yeah.
You guys are old friends from back in Australia.
I met her in New York through through a friend. Yeah,
See,
mutual
I don't know
friend.
how this stuff works. I just assume everyone in Australia knows each other. There's
Oh
just
yeah,
like 12 people
everyone.
there. Yeah. But we've known each other for a while. You've been like such a great supporter of Four. You're, I think, one of the big, like when we launched verified authentic followings, you were one of the first big influencers to submit and get verified, and then like did this whole story about how important it was. And it was,
I'm very passionate about that.
Yeah.
I was so happy that you have that
and you
feature.
had like a lot of us fangirling in the office, being like, oh my God,
my
it's
goodness.
working. Like, it's
Oh, great.
So you've been such a great supporter, and yeah, I know that authenticity has been super important to you.
Absolutely.
As authenticity has become rarer and rarer.
It is, unfortunately.
So, let's get into kind of how you got here and where it's all going. Let's start with the easy stuff and just like walk me through how you got into this world. How did you start?
Well, back with dial-up internet days.
Oh,
I just
wow.
started watching YouTube. I don't remember how I found it. I was always into making videos, like even at school with my friends and uploading them on Facebook at the time. That was what I did first.
And these were beauty videos?
No,
Or
like just
random
me mucking
videos?
around with my friends.
Yeah.
And then I was also a belly dancer, and I used to upload my like belly dance videos.
Right.
And actually, some of them have millions of views now.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know the account password. So I started in like 2008 uploading the videos, and with makeup, it started around the same time as well. Like entering contests, some influencers that would host contests to win palettes and stuff. I would upload little videos like that, and it just started growing. And in about 2011, I had like 20,000 subs. But I had a silly username, so I changed it to my name so that people would not get confused.
Right.
And then that's how I started my channel, yeah.
And at the time you were just, working, you had a strange job, right?
Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of jobs, but at the time I started my current channel, I was at a crematorium.
Okay.
Yeah, and I sold the plots and I made the headstones and ordered the plaques.
So you would do that during the day and then come home at night and do like makeup tutorials.
Yeah, literally, and I would spend all my money. That was my first real job, so
Yeah.
all my money was spent at Target on makeup. And
So at the time, okay, it's 2011, you're like, you're working at the crematorium, you're plowing all your money into this and spending a good amount of time on it, starting to get a following. And like 2011, 20,000 people would have been a lot. Like,
It felt
I'm
like a
sure
lot,
it would have
yeah.
felt like a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like similar to you, I think started creating content, putting it online around 2008, and having any followers was just crazy.
I know.
So, and like,
couldn't fathom what we have now.
no, and this world didn't exist, right? And so like, so why do that, right? Like it's 2011. There's really not a lot of money in this yet.
We did it for the passion of sharing with other people. I liked connecting with people from all around the world. And that's what I liked about watching videos. It's like, whoa, this person is in America and I'm watching them do X, Y, whatever. And that's what I liked about it. Honestly, I was lonely and my job was depressing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to connect with people.
And so at what point do you feel like you started to think about it in a different way? Like, was it like it slowly started to grow more and more and you thought, this is kind of interesting, and a brand started to reach out and say, hey, do you want to work? Or was there a moment where you were like, holy shit, this might be a thing?
I think it was probably when brands reached out because, the money was nice that it was coming in, but I didn't anticipate that I would leave my job. There was a point when the money started matching what I was earning at the crematorium. So I was like, whoa, something is happening here. I didn't know. I mean, I was living in Canberra at the time, so I don't know. You just had no idea what was going to happen. And you can lose your channel at any time, so you always have to remember that. That was always at the back of my mind.
Like
and
how?
It still is now. Like, I don't know if I've had people, I know people that for some reason their channel doesn't show up in search terms or things like that. Like they kind of get a glitch or something.
Right.
And I was just always scared that something like that would happen, or YouTube would shut down, or I don't know. Like
this would all go away.
Yeah, it could go away. You never know. And so I was at the crematorium one day and I got like an email from a brand called Veet, which is a waxing brand in Australia, and they wanted me to become an ambassador and they offered me a salary. So that was when I moved to Sydney.
And quit the job.
Quit the job and moved to Sydney to do it full time because I had that guaranteed salary.
Yeah. Did that feel scary? I mean, I guess having the guaranteed salary was kind of like you were leaving a job for another job, not like you were totally going out on your own yet, although you were. Was that scary, or was it just like super exciting? You were like, let's do this. It was
super exciting, but scary, like creating content for a huge brand, which it's a household name in Australia. I don't know if it is here. But yeah, it was
like
scary.
You scrape the thing?
It's like you peel it and then there's wax on it and you just pull it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's hard work. You have to wax your legs a lot. Like
I did. I mean, I had very like smooth legs. I know. And then I was like, grow. Yeah. So it was kind of nerve-wracking being a professional. Like before it had just been for fun and I could muck around a little bit. But then when I'm creating content for a brand, there's a little bit more pressure. There's deadlines. And dealing with that was a new thing for me.
And so when was that? Just I think that a lot of times when we're talking about this, right? Like you've been doing this for 10 years now. And maybe before that doing, creating videos and doing stuff for fun with your friends. I think a lot of times influencers will be 2 years in and they'll be like, I'm so frustrated, like I'm doing all this stuff and it's not working. So I think sometimes it helps to kind of show that timeline. So it's like 2008, you start putting videos online. 2011, seems like you're maybe getting a little more serious about it. You got 20,000 subscribers or so. When do you quit the job and move to Sydney?
2012.
2012.
I moved in 2013.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you kind of then taking it more seriously for 2 years or so before you quit and went full time.
Well, once I moved to Sydney, that's where all the brands are based in Australia. So I ended up working with a lot of amazing brands there, like Bobbi Brown and Mecca, all of the bigger brands and retailers. I was able to meet them, and the networking is what really made everything grow so fast. And that was kind of when I feel like YouTube became much more known, and then I just grew really fast around that time.
And how did you, I think there is this sense, you're from a small town in Australia, right? And I think a lot of the questions we get are just like, how do I even do this, right? Like there's this talk about like networking, meeting brands and doing all this stuff. And obviously, like I think if you have a following and you're doing something interesting, brands will come.
Yeah, they will come to you.
And a lot of times it's like, if the brands aren't reaching out to you, you're probably not ready.
Yeah.
Because brands are good at finding those kind of rising talents.
I think people jump the gun. I think people, that's the difference between a lot of the new influencers and the ones that have been around for a while. Like we started it as a hobby and as for fun, and I see a lot of people starting it now with the intention of it becoming a job. And so I think that they sometimes miss the point and then they're putting too much pressure on themselves. I think people should start it as a hobby and as something for fun, and then if it goes there, then you're one of the lucky ones. Like I think putting all the pressure on like anticipating it being your job is going to set a lot of people up for like yeah
I think it's like any business, right? Like 99% of startups fail, and the ones that succeed, you can make a lot of money on it, but like they're much better. Yeah, you should definitely try, but like the chances of it working are slim to none.
I know.
Really.
It really breaks my heart when I see people on social media very upset that their views aren't doing well, and a lot of people like to complain about the algorithm and things like that. I like the algorithm. You just have to figure out what your audience wants. It kind of tells you what your audience wants. So I'm not mad at it.
I'm pro algorithm too.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with you, and we've sung that song a lot here. I'm interested, I think one of the interesting things about, kind of our generation of influencer, right? Like we started in a time where the money wasn't even a thought because it didn't exist, right? And now, obviously, as you said, the world has changed. But do you feel like making money changed you or your content? Like as you started to go from, oh, this is a passion to this is a job, I'm making money. And then from that to like, oh, I'm making quite good like money. Did it change the way you thought about videos? Did you feel like, you were coming from this place that was really fluid and fun and just off the cuff to being like, oh no, now this is serious? I feel like sometimes people, when they get that success, the quality goes down for a little bit as they kind of start to navigate that and figure out who they are.
I think anyone would be lying if they said that it didn't affect it, because you have given up your job to do this full time, so you need to make money. You have the pressure from your audience to remain authentic, so you always have to do that, because without them, you wouldn't have the opportunities with other businesses in a business sense. I definitely think it does affect the way you do your job. You film videos. It's really hard to say, like, in what way. I guess you are more sensitive to what you're saying and what your presence is online. And I mean, that's a funny question. Like, yeah, I guess it does. I don't know.
I mean, are you conscious of that? Are you thinking like, I think that like the hope always is that the money is making it better, right? That you are constantly getting better, and that like,
well, I mean,
by taking the sponsorship, you should be able to deliver a higher level of quality and do it more often for your audience.
And I think people expect high quality videos now. They want 4K and everything, but luckily iPhones shoot in that now, right? So yeah, with the money you can buy better equipment and stuff, but I think it does in some ways make you less genuine. Like if you are working with a brand, no matter what anyone says, if you're being paid by a brand, you have to follow a brief, all of that kind of thing. But that's where you have to follow your morals and only accept brand deals that you actually like.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that something that, I think the earlier line of questioning I wanted to go down is like, did the business side of things, you said you had a lot of jobs, like did the business side of things come naturally, like the networking and negotiating and knowing when to push back on a brief and when to just follow it? Like, how did you learn all of
slowly.
that? Yeah.
I mean, like we were saying, it's been so long. I had no idea how to do any of that. And I'm still not very good at editing and that kind of thing. So it's been a very long, slow process. But I was lucky where early on I got a manager to help me with that kind of thing. And I did get media training and I did get taught a lot of things thanks to them. But no, that was a slow process for me. But at the same time, the community's very close-knit and I have so many friends that we kind of helped each other out. And myself and another influencer in Australia, Lauren Curtis, we were really like the first ones in Sydney that were quite big channels. So we really stuck together and navigated things together, and that really helped. Yeah, but definitely as the business side comes in, it does make it feel, I mean, yeah, it makes it a little bit less fun, but at the same time, like, you love what you do.
Right.
Like when you have deadlines and that kind of thing, I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality of jobs is that, like, any job, like, anyone that's telling you that some of their parts of their job are annoying is fucking lying to you, Like, I love my job, I love running this business, but, like, a lot of it is a big pain in the ass, you know? And, like, there's certainly easier ways to spend my time and probably easier ways to make money. I think that reality is probably not talked about that often, right? And like,
people, if you say it, they think you're being ungrateful.
But like, brands can be difficult, and like getting this stuff done can be tough. And I know like when you take money, those people giving it to you have some kind of power over you, right? Like they've just paid to get something from you, right? And I think that's a hard thing to navigate. Like, do you? And I'm interested in your use of comedy, right? So like you're just seem naturally funny and a little like just like, your videos of like making your like fake documentary of like life in a beauty blogger are like hilarious.
Oh, thanks.
But also like, very tongue in cheek in a way that like brands I think sometimes want someone funny, and then the reality of it they're a little like, ooh, but like, don't make fun of us.
Yes.
Or this thing,
Totally.
right? Has that ever been an issue? Like, has you being you and being funny and being a little irreverent ever been an issue with like working with brands?
No, it actually hasn't. No, I find that brands with me are always quite accepting of who I am. They understand. A lot of the time they expect, a produced level thing. And if I create content and they don't like it, I say, well, you're going to have to go hire a production crew and a model and whatever and do it yourself. Because the reason that influencers like me work is because we're natural and ourselves. And we just have to explain that and they understand. I can't remember an instance where something has not gone ahead because they've been unhappy with how I am.
And your audience, I assume, like that kind of irreverence and your ability to not take yourself too seriously and even poke fun at the entire industry.
That's what I love doing. Because it's hilarious what we do.
It is kind of wild.
The characters are wild. Yeah.
Like, I mean, again, I was in a Morello hole this morning that was very deep. And it was like, I was watching that one where you do the like body contouring.
Oh my goodness.
Where you like do your whole, you're in the bikini.
People thought that was real. They thought that I was being serious. They're like, this girl is so into herself.
But like, when do you decide? Because, I think what's interesting is like that tone is there all the time. But like your videos, you're not a parody account, right?
No.
And like, obviously your videos are full of like actual real beauty advice and tips and tricks and all of that. But then like these like curveball, like really funny random things.
I like to throw them in.
Yeah. Is it something that like, again, as the account grows and as this becomes a business, is it something where you're thinking, ooh, I need to do something funny and different now because I've done 3 sponsored posts in a row? Or are you just like, I have this fun idea, let's do this?
It's more like if I have a fun idea, let's do this. And I mean, my channel is just a reflection of who I am. I'm not funny all the time and I'm not happy all the time. So unfortunately, sometimes when I film, people think that I'm sad that day or something, but really it's just the natural emotions that people have. But yeah, sometimes if a video is like that, and then I've gotten all these comments like, you're not yourself today, then I do feel pressure to be funny in the next video. But do you know what I do? I just pull out a little champagne and then I, just sit there and have a bit of fun and like try to enjoy it. But yeah, people, if you are funny in one video, I find they expect you to be funny in all the videos.
Right.
So that's tough for me because I'm not funny all the time.
Right. And well, there's nothing worse than like forcing yourself to try and be funny. Right?
Exactly.
It's like it's happening or it's not.
I know. But
and
people
also like screw you guys, like being like, you don't seem like yourself.
I know. It's so
I don't
annoying.
know you.
I know.
Like, what?
I know, and I'm a normal person. Are you smiling all the time? Like, no.
I'm certainly not. I think, this channel would be much more successful if I was just like really pissed off all the time and ranting.
Yeah.
And like really digging into influencers. People like, that's what they want to see.
Right, yeah.
But
Drama,
right? Which again, as I was saying, I love drama, I love gossip, but we can't do it all the time. I'm also interested to think that like creating YouTube videos is not as easy, obviously, as like running an Instagram account. Not that running an Instagram account is easy, but I used to be a photographer, right? And like, I used to have jobs that I didn't love, and my blog and stuff was like my creative outlet. And every day I woke up and I was just like, my goal today is to take 5 great photos. And now I wake up and I'm like, I have 8 hours of meetings and 10 things to deal with. And like, I have to pay 35 people and figure out how to do that. And so like the idea of taking a photo, it would be so far down on my list now that I just don't have the space to be creative. So how do you, and I'm interested in like someone whose job it is to create, but is also running a business. How do you find that space? And do you feel like, do you ever feel like you're slipping creatively, or like your ability to create really great content is suffering as you get better at running a business?
Totally. I think that's probably that does happen to me, and I suddenly realize, oh my gosh, I have not uploaded a picture in 2 days, and I don't have anything to do because you get stuck down with meetings, so many events, and you've got to go to the events.
Yeah.
So all of those business things and, you know, life admin and work admin and stuff, you get pulled under that, but you have to, I think, if it gets to that stage, I think that would be a point where you bring more people on in your team. So I've got my husband that helps me, and he's good because he's like, come on, we've got to take a picture. I probably need to hire someone else. I mean, we just moved to LA, so I'll probably be looking for an assistant. But I think once you get to that stage where you've got
15 emails.
yeah, send them in. Yeah, but I mean, and maybe you have to hire more assistants.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, for me, obviously, like,
you have
that's not my focus, but I commiserate because, like, you guys are running these businesses, and like that creativity, I feel like comes from, at least for me, it comes from like a vacuum. It comes from not having other things you're thinking about.
Right. Totally.
It comes from having that space, and just like, how do you get that space, you know, to be like, oh, like, I've got this great idea, or like, you know, again, because like if you look at your life 5 years ago, you just didn't have as much shit going on.
Yeah.
Right? Like you just didn't have as much to do. So like creating was so much probably a bigger part of your day-to-day life than it is now. And it must be a challenge to figure out how you keep the quality level up, and then how do you keep like outdoing yourself and doing it better.
I know, that's hard.
Right?
That's hard. And then when your content does have a dip in like engagement or something, it really takes a toll on you. If people aren't liking what you're creating, it really feels personal. And I can get as many hate comments throughout the day, but if it's about my content quality, that's when it really hurts. For me, when I'm to make sure that I've got the space to be creative, I like to just keep a lot of notes and lists just to make sure that I find that I have to get all my work done before I create. So I try to get things out of the way that I don't like, and then I've got the freedom to create. But it is really tough because there's always so many things popping up.
And you just moved to LA, as you said.
Yeah.
And that's got to be nice. I mean, I'm sure you have to be feeling kind of re-inspired.
Yeah, really re-inspired.
Right?
Really re-inspired. And my house is not set up yet. We don't have a couch or anything. We're literally sitting on the floor at the moment. But yeah, I just can't wait to get my filming studio set up and I can start filming. I mean, I'm loving going to all the events and being surrounded by other influencers and meeting the brands. And this place is just so cool. Like walking down the street, you see people taking their Instagram photos. There's influencers everywhere. It just feels like this is the place to be. And it's way more inspiring than Sydney, where I was kind of shy to take a photo and I didn't feel confident and people don't understand what we do. Whereas here, there's such more of an understanding of the creators. Yeah.
You know, I was listening to this podcast years ago, and it was talking about this guy who was the most famous comedian in France. He was like Seinfeld of France, right? Like huge, like very, very famous. Everybody knows him. And he moved to New York and started doing stand-up in small clubs in English because he was like, if you're going to be a comedian, you have to be in America. Like, if you want to be the best in the world.
But did he do well?
I mean, it was talking about his struggle, you know, and the guy was asking, like, you went from being so famous and such a big fish to coming here. And, you know, he was like, yeah, but like, this is where it is all happening. And if I want to, like, sure, I could go and be very wealthy and successful here and be a big fish, but like, this is kind of the center of the comedy universe. In a lot of ways, LA is the center of, at least for influencers, it's the center of that world. New York, more the brand, like that's where the brands are, but this is where the influencers live. And I'm interested in your choice to move here. You were and are, I think, probably the biggest, have to be one of the biggest YouTubers in Australia,
One of,
right?
not the biggest.
But like one of, and certainly helped create that space. And I'm sure in Australia, if people follow an influencer, you are one of the ones that they kind of know and follow. And then you come here and, you know, you probably don't have as much name recognition.
No.
You know, and whereas going to an event in Australia, I'm sure everyone's like, oh my gosh.
I don't notice them if they do that.
I'm sure they do. Yeah, why come here?
Well, I've always had a manager here. I was signed with an MCN pretty early on here. And so I've always had a lot of jobs coming from the United States while in Australia, and it got to a certain point where I was being invited to so many events over here, and I was coming over for so many work-related things, and there was just a point where I was like, I want to go here. I want to be here. I'm young. I've always wanted to live overseas. That was a big part of it. I do love being near to my family, and Australia is easily the greatest country to live in, I think. But yeah, I just wanted to do it while I was young and while I was in a good place in my career. And then I hope to go back to Australia to settle down later with my husband.
And what, again, you're only a week in, obviously. But what were some of the fears of moving here? Again, like, I think there is a difference from being, even just psychologically for yourself, of being like, big fish here, and not to say not a big fish here, but it's just a much bigger
different
market.
Yeah, but there is so much more opportunity here. Like, I am still more busy in America than I am in Australia. So, and the budget's just 5 times the size of Australia. So, and I think being an Australian in LA, I find that people love Australians here.
People everywhere, honestly.
So, everywhere. And I think that that's almost good for me to be something different. Right. Like, it gives me a different color to my scales or whatever we're saying I'm a fish. So, yeah, I know that it's the pond is a lot bigger here. But that's why I hope I have more space to grow.
Talk a little more about YouTube, and then we're going to go to Instagram. But I was going through your recent videos and then your top videos, and you have your like 14 million view outfit video.
Do you know why?
No. I watched it.
That's men overseas because I'm in a bikini.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of that video going viral because that is like, it went okay for a while and then it went viral in foreign countries, and I can see that they're all men. So I have better videos to talk about.
No, I didn't want to talk about that one because I knew that was like,
that is my most viewed video.
It's got a great thumbnail. You look amazing. And I assumed it was all men watching that video.
Yeah, that's the only video.
So that's not the one. I don't want to talk about that. But
I have other videos like makeup tutorials. Like my first viral video was an eyeliner video. But again, the reason that went viral is because I leaned forward at a certain point. And you can see the tiniest amount of cleavage. Someone screenshotted it and put it on 9gag. So I got like 1 million views in 3 days on that video. From people,
there's like whole sites to just watch porn.
I know.
Like, what are you doing watching?
It was actually my snarky comment reply to someone about something that, like, someone had commented, "You can see down your top," and I was like, "So what?" or something like that, and they screenshotted that, and that's why that video went viral. But but I guess that's the key.
Yeah,
major killer.
But like, you pretty consistently, putting out stuff that seems to be like connecting. I was just saying how I watched that whole, nose blackhead mask video you have, which is great. But like, how do you? One, it must be frustrating chasing that virality and being like having something that hits and then being like, I'm so good, I'm going to do this again, and the next one does 150,000 views.
Yeah, I don't expect myself to always be getting those huge views. I feel like a lot of the time I'm surprised by what gets a lot of views, and sometimes I'm making a video, I'm like, this one's going to go off. Yeah. And then it only gets 150, 200,000 views, and so
it's still a shitload.
But when I have
2 million, 2.3 million subscribers.
And so I feel like I should be getting more, but that's why you just have to keep trying new things. I think it's all about variation, and you can't have a hit every single time. Right. So I think it's important that even if a regular everyday tutorial is not going to go, doesn't really have as much possibility of going viral, I still want to do it because I have those dedicated followers that still want to see that content. And so I just make sure that I'm varying my content. That goes back to what you were saying about making funny videos, and like, I just want to be able to do anything. I want to do tutorials, I want to do my comedy skits, I want to do vlogs with my husband about our lives, and that's that varied stuff I think is what's important. But I think as well, people are just more now, like the YouTube space is changing so much, there's a tutorial for everything. People are more interested in like the celebrity of influencers, and so they want to see our lives. And I'm noticing that people are really dedicated to my vlogs with my husband. And anytime I upload a photo with my husband on Instagram, it gets 3 times the likes that a makeup photo does. So people are just kind of, I think the trends are always changing online and what people want to see. And it's really interesting to step back and see what's popular at that time. And I'm really bad. I don't like to follow trends that much. I like to do what I feel. So I feel like I've missed out on a lot of the trends. You know, people were applying 100 layers of fake lashes and 100 layers of fake tan. Do you remember those videos? 100 this, like 20 this, like 100 jumpers, like 100 jackets. I don't know how they did that. But yeah, I never did one of those videos, and I was like, I should do one, but I was like, I don't want to cover my whole face with. But yeah, it's interesting to, you can in a way, like if you jump on those trains, guarantee yourself good views. But it's about also remaining authentic to yourself, because I think your audience can tell when you're not.
And I think for brands, you know, the value is like, am I going to sit there and watch you, you know, do this tutorial and learn something from you and learn about the product? And like, I feel like the virality stuff is so much more about entertainment.
It's good to do, like, to get your new eyes on you.
Right. But it's not really helpful for, I mean, it's great for brands. Like if one of those videos goes viral for brands, I'm sure they're like losing their mind.
That's happened to me a few times where the brand was like.
Which is like super exciting for them, I'm sure. But yeah, the kind of more day-to-day educational, helpful stuff is what I'm sure the subscribers are really your core audience.
My core audience, who I care about the most, because they've been with me for so long.
Like ideally they are learning things from you, right? Like, and I think that like it's something that gets forgotten in the influencer space, is that like to be an influencer, you have to be influential in something. Meaning you have to be better at something than most people are. Right. And so. But
that doesn't matter to a lot of, I mean, I see a lot of people make YouTube tutorials on makeup that are everyday people that I guess aren't like trained. They don't have the same skills that some of us are that have had training, but it's their personality that wins people over. And I guess in a way, even if they're not an expert, that might be what makes them more reliable to people. So I guess you have the two ends of the spectrum. You either have the professionals or you have, you know, the everyday girls that they can trust. And I like to think I'm somewhere in the middle. So. Yeah,
and I think you can be, you know, your thing that you can be good at is just being yourself, certainly. And like you can be an influencer in that and being like, oh, I'm just this really unique personality and people trust me. You know, I think where the space gets confusing is like, if you have a following because of your personality. Or you just are like, you know, genetically gifted and you're so beautiful or something, then like, is your audience, do they really care about what products you're using?
No, exactly.
You know, and like, is there any real value there for brands?
No.
Probably not, you know? I mean, but like.
They might be the right fit for some brands.
Yeah, but totally. And like, they could be essentially walking billboards. But you know, I watch your videos and it's like, you are learning something. And I'm wondering, I'm like.
So how's your eyeliner?
I mean, you know, I have. I just realized how little I'm doing. I need a lot more.
Your hair's amazing.
Thank you.
You should do a hair tutorial.
Well, I watched yours this morning and you were like, you know, I have amazing hair and I take really good care of it.
Wait, I said that?
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I don't,
You don't style it much?
I don't really. I try not to put much in it,
But how do you think about craft? You know, I've had like some influencers on who are much more like focused on editorial photography and like shooting insane stuff, like Tessa and Margot and me, like both of them, and Jamie Beck. Yeah, they're in fashion, and they just shoot like the photos are insane.
I think that's what works.
And so they think about craft and about getting better at photography constantly. And so for you, I wonder, are you thinking about the like craft of beauty and like, are you trying to learn, like, are you learning new things? Are you always saying, you know, I want to try this thing, or like, how are you thinking about that?
I don't think I really think like that. I prefer to think about the content of what's in my videos and what's in my Instagram. Like, is it relatable? Is it enjoyable for my audience? I try to leave that other stuff up to my husband, who does love getting better at videography. But like I said, when I started YouTube, it was all about the makeup and connecting with people, and that's still what I like. That's still only what I like. I don't care for filming. I don't care for, that's the part I hate, like editing. That's why I was like so happy that I found a really good Instagram husband, because he likes doing that. Right. I want to get better at relating to my audience and being fun and bringing the new information in like fun, unique ways. So I guess in that way, I don't call it a craft. That feels very serious.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it is. I mean, like, why are you're moving into doing like scripted kind of comedy stuff like that?
That is different.
That's not easy. That's not an easy thing to do. That's like a lot of work.
We actually just won a government grant for that.
Really?
With Screen Australia, which is the government body.
Amazing.
So we're going to be able to make more of that. But yeah, with that, I commissioned my sister, I commissioned my professional producer friend. And so what I lack in, I definitely need to pull those skills from other people. But no, craft, I'm obviously wanting to get better, but when it comes to like the quality of my content, I mean, I always find that an iPhone selfie does way better than something shot on my Canon.
Yeah.
So I don't focus on that. I mean, I can see what does well, and because those photos don't do as well, I don't focus on that.
And that's a good segue into Instagram. When did you start taking Instagram seriously? I know you said that you're kind of focusing on that in brands, obviously. One, it's just so expensive to buy into YouTube.
Yeah, so I'm noticing a lot more on Instagram and not as much on YouTube anymore.
So when did you start to focus on Instagram?
I've always loved it.
Part one of the question. Part two, I just want to explore more like how it's different.
My first Instagram picture was in 2012, and it was like me making pancakes.
Yeah.
And so it was all very like not makeup at
still
first.
There?
Yeah. I haven't deleted any photos. I have like 4,800 photos or something on my Instagram and like 80,000 photos on my iPhone. So all selfies. And so I think at first it was just like because my focus was YouTube, and at that time I wasn't making much money. So it was all about like just having fun with my audience. And then after a while, when brands wanted to start investing on Instagram, then I think it became more product and beauty focused. It's been tough because I definitely started to focus on Instagram once I noticed brands pulling away from YouTube after a while. And especially in Australia, the budgets are a lot smaller. So a lot of them can only afford Instagram. So yeah, I tried to make my Instagram aesthetically pleasing sometimes, but it doesn't work like that. I find that if I'm trying to focus on that and trying to make a pretty photo, it doesn't do as well as the video of me going to eat my toast and everything on my toast falling off my toast.
Right.
That video got like 500,000 views, and it's me eating toast. I don't understand my followers. I put so much effort into tutorials and makeup, and you want to see my toast breaking up.
I mean, the internet is a strange and confusing place sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Or me answering my hotel door with my face mask on and scaring the hotel server. That, again, 500,000 views. Yeah. It's interesting. And again, you just got to vary your content that way because I guess it must work for some people, like those high-end fashion people where they have very high-end clients. And so they want that.
And it's like
thing in the brand, I
think for some of them, it's escapism, right? Like for Teza, who's been on the show, it's like going to her account is like going into another kind of.
It's like reading a magazine.
Yeah, it's like reading a magazine. Whereas I think the value of YouTube is that feeling of a relationship, and like this person.
That's why it doesn't work for me.
And they're more relatable. And so I think the iPhone stuff, the being funny, the being irreverent, like it makes sense that stuff works, and it makes sense that high-end produced shoots wouldn't do as well for you.
But at the
same, wait, what?
But at the same time, I'm noticing that some of these high-end influencers on Instagram are now opening YouTube channels, and I think that that's really good for them because that facet of their personality hasn't really been seen by their audience, and so I think that will only support them on Instagram. Yeah. Like my friend Pia Muhlenbeck, she's a huge Instagrammer, and a couple of years ago she started vlogging with her husband, and I think that that's really helped.
Yeah.
Like people get to know you, and so they become more invested in you, and I think that's what in this helps you get more support on Instagram as well. So I definitely think you still have to do everything. It sucks you have to do not both, everything.
All of it,
As soon as something opens,
you gotta get.
No, I have to get TikTok. Oh my God! Apparently, people have hundreds of thousands.
The kids are on there. You got to connect with the kids.
I don't have a big audience under 18.
Yeah,
my audience is all 25 to 35.
They're all on TikTok.
I gotta get it. And it's like singing to camera.
It's just like Vine kind of, short videos and stuff.
So I want to do that. I'm going to get it right after this. Go follow me at Chloe Morello.
Yeah, on TikTok, kids. If there's anyone under 25 that watches the channel, I'll be fucking shocked.
A drink with James, should they be over 21?
They should be. Exactly. So don't drink, kids.
No.
Literally ruin your life. And to your point real quick, like we see that like on Instagram, YouTubers have much better engagement than anyone else because I think people feel like they know you and because they feel that
invested in you.
Because watching these videos, they're just, sitting there, you're just talking for 15 minutes. Like you do get to know someone a little bit better,
That's why I started doing daily vlogs with my husband.
And you're doing those
on a separate channel.
Okay. When did you start that?
Oh, we started like 2 years ago. We have about 40,000 subscribers, but the views consistently are over 100,000 often. So people really love them.
Yeah. And you're doing, that's daily vlogs?
No, just whenever we have something interesting on, especially now in the move.
Yeah.
People really love seeing us setting up our house and all that kind of thing. So whenever I'm posting that content, I found that my views on stories, for example, have like doubled on Instagram because I'm in LA and I guess it gets pushed out to people in
time zone. All that stuff.
That kind of thing. Instagram actually did tell me that they geo push even if you don't geotag.
Yeah.
So if like when you go to Singapore and things, you get so many more views because of the population density. In Sydney, I struggle because it's not very densely populated. But here, it's probably a mixture of that and people are excited that we're moving.
Yeah.
My views are going really well right now.
Happening. How do you think about growth on Instagram versus YouTube? Or like, are you worried about that? Again, it's I think the number one thing people are asking about in the show and asking us is like, how do I grow? How do I grow? Like people are growth obsessed. Are you?
I'm not followers obsessed. I'm engagement obsessed. So I'm just constantly trying to find what my audience wants to see. I just want to make them happy. And I just want them to spend time watching my content and liking my content and commenting because I want to engage with them. And because I know that engagement rate is what the brands need. And obviously I need to make money. So that is important to me and I want to make my audience happy. I'm content with my amount of followers. Like it's great, but I want all of them to be watching me. So if I have 2.6 million followers, ideally I will get 2.6 million likes and everything. So it's about trying to reach my own subscribers or followers. So that's what I care about more.
And how do you how do you continue to have a relationship with over 2 million people? Like, has that been a tough transition? I'm sure the comments and DMs are essentially impossible to keep up with.
DMs I can't really keep up with, but I definitely try to, when I upload content, stay online for like 15, 20 minutes to try and respond if I can, to make sure that I'm doing that. And also just being authentic and sharing my real life with them and making sure that I'm sharing the bad parts as well as the good parts because that's what people relate to. Like my Instagram page is not like a magazine. It's my real natural life. And I think the best I can really do is share and then when I can respond to comments because there are a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not so much that I can't keep up, comment-wise anyway.
Right.
I probably get like 100 to 300 comments and I can reply to people that are asking questions there.
But the DMs, I assume, are just
DMs. I don't bother. Yeah. I usually don't because there's like hundreds per day.
Yeah, and then you're like in a conversation.
Yeah.
Which is like
that's tough.
And I think people feel. I've heard this from other influencers, and even seen it on like Fours accounts and stuff. Like people feel entitled to a response in a DM.
Yeah.
And you're like,
But a lot of my DMs are just replies to my stories where they're not really asking anything. Usually I try to reply to people if they're asking a question that I haven't answered recently or like that I haven't answered a million times. So that's why I also have a little FAQ highlight, frequently asked questions highlight. And I find that people don't check that. I find that people do not check the frequently asked questions.
Check the highlight. And how different has been working with brands on Instagram versus YouTube?
I mean, it's faster turnaround, which is good. Like people can book some content like only 1 or 2 days before sometimes. So that's good. It doesn't take that much less time to film an Instagram tutorial and things because I still have to sit down in my space. It's almost harder because you've got to edit down a full video into a minute or whatever it is. And now you've also got IGTV, we've got stories, like there's so many kinds of content on Instagram. I really feel like IGTV is going to give YouTube a run for its money.
So?
Big time. I mean, some people are getting hundreds of thousands of views on their IGTV, and that's like more than I get on YouTube these days.
Yeah.
Like my IGTV videos go really well. So
yeah, we've struggled with it, and we haven't had many. This chair is so loud.
Yeah. It's the chair.
Yeah. Sure. We haven't had many brands ask for it, and I think that like something I struggle with IGTV is like YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world, and like so much of it is search driven and discovery driven, and that's tough on Instagram. Yeah, have you uploaded the longer form videos into IGTV and it's working for you?
Yeah, especially because you can push it to your feed and I got 300,000 on my house tour when I first moved here. It does really well. I prefer having everything in one spot, so I really like Instagram.
Yeah.
And Instagram is doing well for me. And YouTube is definitely harder. It's just so much more effort to put it on there. And it seems like I haven't grasped their algorithm great. And I think when you're not uploading on YouTube as frequently, you kind of get pushed down the algorithm or whatever. And so when I'm not doing it consistently, like because I've been moving countries, that's been tough for me.
Yeah. So what, obviously you're doing a lot of content and brand deals and all this. What else are you kind of thinking about? I know you did the brow product with, was that with Benefit?
Yeah, with Benefit, I did a brow kit with them.
Is that your first product collaboration or?
No, I've done a few now. I've done 2 palettes in Sephora with Ciate. I've done a Pixie collaboration with a palette and a lipstick, like a lip gloss that's in Target. And I just came out with the brow kit. I mean, I've done quite a few collaborations. I'm really lucky, and I love doing that because creating product, I mean, that's so exciting. Yeah. Working with brands is very exciting, but then working with them so closely to create something is even more exciting.
Right. And so how do you think about, your path and your eventual like end goal in this, right? Are you more living day to day and saying like, this is just amazing and I'm going to do things? Or are you like, no, I have an eventual goal of like running a product company or doing this or what, kind of what's next for you?
Well, I invested in a clean beauty company called Face Halo. And so it's a makeup remover pad. So I'm a shareholder in that company and the ambassador for it. And that's what I focus on. I would love to have another brand because I'm a partner in that. So it's not my own.
Right.
So I would definitely like to do my own something. But honestly, Face Halo, I really believe in it. And I love it and use it multiple times a day for so many different things. So that is definitely a big focus and it's the perfect alignment for me. But that's really my big thing. Now that I'm here in LA, I definitely want to do something else. I know there are good manufacturers here.
Yeah.
So I definitely plan to go and see and talk to them about what I'm planning.
But you've only been here a week, so I think you can give yourself a little bit of time.
Can I though? You gotta be quick, really.
Absolutely.
You gotta be quick.
You gotta be quick. I think, final thing, which is, and I ask you to try and not give the normal answer and cut through the bullshit, which we always try and do here. But, a lot of people watching the show are trying to grow a following. They're just starting out, and is there a piece or a few pieces of advice that you would give that, that you wish you knew or that, you see influencers out there struggling now and you wish you could tell them? Like, what is, what do you want to tell the people?
I want to tell people to not try to be a professional influencer. I hate that people are starting this wanting to become big, rich, famous influencer getting stuff for free. I really wish people would just do it for the passion of it, and then if it comes, ride the wave. But I'm seeing everyone start wanting to be famous, wanting to get free stuff, wanting to go on the trips, everything like that, but really they clearly don't love it because they're just complaining about it all the time because they haven't reached what they want to be. So that's something that I see all the time, and I'm like, look, you're not going to succeed if you're doing it for that. But personally, I mean, I'm sure some people have, but like we were saying, not everyone can do it.
Yeah, no, and I mean,
be realistic.
I think it's such a good piece of advice because it's every single successful influencer you talk to. It's like, why did you start? And it's like, I was bored. I needed a creative outlet.
Yeah.
I was unhappy with my job and my life. Like, I just loved makeup or fashion or whatever it might be. And like from that passion comes a following. From that following comes a business.
Totally.
And that's like the path that you really, I think, need to take if you're going to have sustainable.
Right. And enjoy yourself. Otherwise, you will hate your life. If you're doing it just for that, then you're not going to have a good time.
Yeah. And there's better ways to make money, like going to banking or something.
Seriously.
Like if you just want to make money, just like go work at fucking Goldman Sachs.
Seriously.
Like, you know how much money those people
way more
make?
reliable.
Yeah. Like
way more reliable avenue. Yes.
And yeah, it's all glamorous, but like another thing I think is just how long. Like you've been doing this for 10 years,
Takes
and
so
like,
long.
It's not crazy that you now have a successful business because you've been working on it for 10 years, every day. And I think that story isn't told enough, is that like from 2008 to 2013, you were just kind of doing this on the side and trying to figure it out and, spending all of your money investing in it without getting anything back. That's 5 years. So I think to the people watching, it's like, if you haven't put that in, if you've done it for a year and you've said, well, what's going on? It's not working. It's like...
Because some people do shoot up that fast, so people expect it, but then they forget about the majority of us who've been doing it for super long time.
And I think it's also easy to look back on like that first viral video you had and be like, oh yeah, then it all just kind of happened. It's like, oh wait, but I was like, for years before I was doing all this other stuff, and I was like, it's kind of, I think, easy to forget what that past looked like because it's been such a
I totally agree.
long road. And you people that do like spike up in a year, like fuck all you. Like it's just like that's not real. In general, that's just like not real.
No, you can't rely on that.
That's not how it works. So I appreciate the insights and good luck in
Thank
LA.
you. It was really fun.
I am sure you will take it by storm. And when you're in New York, make sure you come by.
I will. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.